Hi everyone! Today I'm talking about a comic I recently released, or I guess rebooted, called Sugar and Swords. It's been out for a few months now on webtoons, so even though I should have made a video about this earlier, at least now there's over 10 episodes out. So if this is the first time you're hearing about it, then have fun reading it and catching up. Before I get into it, let me summarize the plot. Sugar and Swords is about the daily life of a background character in a town full of heroes and adventurers. We follow Rachel, a girl who works in the town's cafe/adventurer shop. She sells coffee, food, simple weapons, healing potions, and anything else adventurers need to fight monsters or relax. Basically, it's a slice-of-life fantasy that treats every episode as its own short story. It lets me poke fun at or talk about video game mechanics or fantasy stuff that a regular person living in that world would have to deal with. I would say it's a mix between Dungeons & Dragons and RPG fantasy games. I had this idea back in my early college days to explore making comics and storytelling. I only made like 4 episodes before stopping it, mainly because classes were taking all my time. Fast forward to this year, I now have a few ideas I want to make into comics. But before jumping into like a 2 to 3 year long project off the bat, it seemed a bit challenging, so I came back to Sugar and Swords as a smaller project to improve my comic making skills. And since it's episodic, I can stop updating for long periods and it'd be fine plot-wise. But since I have a lot of ideas for it right now, I'm gonna keep updating it for now. I don't know if you've noticed, but the art for this comic is much more simpler and cartoony than what I usually draw. It's mainly because since it started out as a test series of sorts to get into comic making, I wanted the style to be simpler and make it easy to draw. Plus, it's a lighthearted comic, so a cartoony style would match it better than like a semi-realistic one. If you compare this art with the old original version, I'd say I got much better with colors and readability. I'll put a comparison in between the old and the new one. It's always nice seeing how much you've improved over time. Plus, seeing I've only made like 4 episodes in the original, I'm now at like, I think 13 and going, so I've gotten a lot better with like motivation and dedication to projects as well. One of the most exciting things about making this comic is that I recently got on the staff picks on Webtoon. As of now, if you scroll down on the main homepage of the app, you can see my comic there. Yay! I don't know how long it's gonna last there, but I'm glad it's there to begin with. Funny story is that the other night when I was going to bed, I was half asleep and my sister said, "Hey, your comic has over 10,000 views and over 1,000 followers." After hearing this, I immediately checked out and found I got featured. Keep in mind that beforehand I had like a couple hundred views at most and like 50 followers after releasing it weekly for about 2 or 3 months. So the fact that I grew so fast over such a short amount of time really surprised me. As of right now, it has like 40,000 views and like almost 4,000 followers, which makes me really happy. Now I feel like I need to put in a lot more effort into these weekly episodes, but I'm doing my best either way. In the future, I'm probably going to make another video talking about the step-by-step process I take when making a webcomic, since there's so much I can talk about from the early steps like ideas and thumbnailing, down to the formats and file management. It'll take some time to make since I have other projects in mind with more priority, but I will make it nonetheless. The episode that's currently playing in the video is episode 6, which is about having a full inventory in games and basically how the NPC sees it. This is from personal experience when playing open world games for me, kinda like Skyrim, because if I see an item on the ground that you can pick up, of course I'm gonna pick it up. I've also come across this problem many times in games like Animal Crossing, where my pockets tend to be full of a little bit of everything. I chose the time-lapse of this episode rather than one of the first ones because episode 1 functions kind of more like a prologue and then the other earlier episodes I made. Actually, I made them almost a year ago, and they kind of look a little rough around the edges for me. Plus, this episode encompasses kind of what the comic is about, so it works for me. After making over 10 episodes, I have a good idea on how long it takes to make each episode, as well as the style I want. I find I'm getting a little lazy on the backgrounds from time to time, but like I said earlier, this was meant to be a test comic to get into comic making, so it serves its purpose. As long as it takes less than a week to make each episode, it's good with me. However, my backlog of episodes I have is just about gone, so I need to either finish episodes weekly, or take a short break to make another backlog of content, or even shorten the episodes or time it takes to make each one. I guess we'll see. Originally, my goal was to go for as long as I can and then stop, but since it's getting traction, I think my goal right now is to make around 40 episodes with some kind of conclusion story in the end. Either way, we'll see how far I take this, because at the end of the day, as long as I'm enjoying the process, it's good with me. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed listening to me and my early steps of comic making. If you want to check it out, I'll put a link in the description. Or you can just head over to Webtoon and search Sugar and Swords. Alright, I think that's it. Until next time, bye bye!